Today I'll be covering another beginner's analysis between Amarokibro and JP3003. So the game starts off with e4, e5, and just these basic developing moves. So these are very standard moves, especially for beginners, and it's pretty good as well. But then knight g5 is played by Amarokibro. This move is played by white. Obviously, this move aims at the f7 pawn. You can see this threat at the f7 pawn, right? Well, theoretically, this may be a good idea in the future, but obviously, right? the knight is hanged right now. G5. This knight is not being defended by anything. So, typically, when you play knight g5, your pawn will be first on d3, so you can play knight g5, right? So this way, the bishop defends the knight on g5, but Amarokibro misses that move and just plays knight g5 instead. And yeah, JP3003 responds well and takes the free knight. Next, d4 is played. So I'd say this is another not good move by white, mistake. Well, first, right, it just blunders this pawn on g2, and this position is really, really, really difficult to win for white. But you could argue that, these two are beginners, of course, so d4 could be played to attack the queen and maybe do some counterattack in the middle. But instead, black moves queen d8. Could have just taken the pawn there, but that's fine. Queen d8, d5, knight d4, knight d4, c3. c3 is a good move, kicking the knight out. And again, moving knight d4 here was a small mistake because c3 just traps the knight here, and then black will have to forcefully trade against the exchange now. So next, black moves b5. b5 is played. Interesting move, but still not that good because black still loses this knight, so it doesn't really do anything. And then bishop d3, good move. c5, takes. And yeah, now white can just take the b5 pawn, and now it's just free and hanging. Bishop d7, blocking. Bishop takes, queen takes. Now both sides are just developing their pieces. Yep. a6. Well, black moves a6 here, right? I don't believe this is a good move because, first of all, this a pawn already isn't doing anything, right? There's no reason to move a6 again because that's just a waste of a move. A6 has no purpose. And in my previous video, I explained that you should always think before you move, right? Because sometimes we forget to think before we move, like black here. JP forgot to think, and he forgot to think why a6 would be an impactful and meaningful move. Because in this case, if a6, is not that good of a move. Before you think, before you move, you want to think, what would this move accomplish? Why would I make this move? And currently both sides, they're just developing pieces, that's fine. But both sides need to have a good plan in mind, right? Like black doesn't really have a clear plan in mind. The only plan you could see was at the beginning where white moved knight g5, but unfortunately blundered his knight. Okay, yeah, moving a6, bishop d2, that's fine. h6 now. Again, h6 is not that meaningful, right? Maybe it's to block bishop g5 in the future, but white already made the move bishop d2. There's like a small chance that he's gonna make the same move again, bishop g5. So I wouldn't recommend h6. Bishop b4. Alright, see now, you could sort of see white developing a plan here, right? White is obviously trying to attack the d6 pawn, so that's good. But in this case, it's not strong enough yet because black has two defenders and white has two defenders as well. So this attack wouldn't be successful, but we'll see if it is. rook b8, a3, queen e8, okay, so first of all, queen e8, hold on, queen d8, queen d8 isn't really, so the queen starts on the square d8, and right now the queen is much better on d7. There's really no reason to move the queen back to d8, because when you move the queen back to d8, it blocks this rook battery. It blocks the other rook from coming in, and it's just a waste of a move, right? So this is where we see it. It's a waste of a move. Bishop a5, and then queen moves back to d7. Now, something I'd like to point out here is the weak squares on the board that white can take advantage of. For example, c6, this the square over here, light square, there's nothing that could kick it out. Like, physically, there's nothing. This bishop is stuck here. This rook cannot do anything. Knight can't. Queen can't. So if white manages to get his knight here, that would be a really good outpost, and maybe you get some material out of it as well. See this fork. So maybe that's a plan you could think for the future. Bishop b4, bishop b4, rook f c7, bishop a5 is a mistake again. You could definitely see that white is trying to move bishop b6, but again, he hangs the b3 pawn. c5, c8. Alright, getting more pieces into the attack. Queen a5. Well, and another thing, right? White is obviously an attack here. Black is just defending himself. And when you're attacking your opponent, you don't want to trade pieces, because trading your attacking pieces would just mean less of an attack and the defense is working. So usually when you're winning and you have a good attack, you don't want to trade any of your pieces. Like in this case, white has a powerful bishop, and black's bishop is just on e7 doing nothing and stuck. So you don't want to ever trade bishops, in this case on d8 as well. Queen takes, rook takes. Alright, nice. Alright, still, right? Still, knight c6 is still a good outpost, and later you could still get your knight in the game. Maybe knight d8, and then place your knight on e6 in the future. Maybe some plans for that. But you do have to worry about this passed pawn, the d pawn. But for right now, white is winning by a lot, because this black rook has nowhere to move, and this white rook actually has a lot of space and advantage. So just some here, white has to make sure that he can successfully have an attack without having this black d pawn promote. But black seems like he forgot to play chess and actually just blunders this pawn, and white is able to take every single one of black's pawns because black is just moving his rook around. And let's see how this goes. There's some moves, and it looks like white is about to promote. Yeah, white promoted here, and black resigned. So this game could have been continued, but obviously it would end in a checkmate regardless, right? Likely, I'd see white would probably promote into a couple more queens and then checkmate black that way. But overall, both sides need to focus more on formulating an attack rather than just making moves because you're making moves.